Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Hello, what is up? I'm Jared Welch, Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, March 26th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
Yeah, what's up? Big weekend ahead. Oh, happy opening day of baseball. Happy Sweet 16 day. What a sports night tonight too. So, and on into the weekend with the big races. So, yeah, it's here, man. The big races are here.
It's finally here, and we're starting to see obviously this weekend's racing, and now we're starting to see some of the projected fields for the Wood, the Standing Derby, and the Bluegrass, and those are starting to look very promising as well. And so it really is, I mean, quite frankly, other than maybe Emerging Market, who ran last week, we'll talk about him in a second, like the whole top 10 is running, our top 10 is running in the next, these next 5 races. So and not to mention, you got the Dubai World Cup this weekend. You've got the UAE Derby, which, there are a couple promising horses, I think, from overseas that I think can make the trip over here if depending on what happens. So, yeah, it's like the Derby picture is still just completely wide open, but I do think we're going to start to get some answers, some big answers in these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I absolutely should. I think, we do kind of, if you want to call Emerging Market like a leader in the clubhouse, or Full Effort, if you want to call that the leader in the clubhouse, okay. But now, the big races are still left here with, here locally, 2 preps in the United States, 2 preps overseas as well, and then 3 more next week. So, I mean, look, it's all set up. The Florida Derby is phenomenal. The Arkansas Derby, I think, is sneaky good. Saturday is one of those days, man. If you're not fired up for Saturday, you probably don't really like horse racing all that much. Not to mention what's going on over in Dubai as well. So, we're gonna get answers, like you said. Some answers maybe we like, some we might not like, but we are gonna get answers.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of it with you look at for instance, you look at that Florida Derby field. There is bound to be some disappointments coming out of that race, right? It's just there's too many good ones in there, and too many highly thought of horses going into it that it's going to have some good answers. Depending on who wins, and then there's going to be a couple that you're kind of left scratching your head on.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unlikely all 4 of those major stars are going to hit the wire together, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody, if not 2, that you look up and go, man, that wasn't what you wanted to see there. So, look, I remember last year we were sitting at Oaklawn Park and we kind of watched the Florida Derby and said, boy, that's really not what you wanted to see out of Sovereignty today. And, eventually you come around and you use them and things work out. But, it's not the end all be all. But you want to see pretty darn good performances in these last preps. You don't have to win them. That's not a requirement to win the Derby. You don't have to win your last prep. You got to look and run at least fairly decent in these last ones.
Yeah, that was a funny day because we were at Oaklawn with some friends and we watched. I remember like exactly what we were doing, where we were sitting, where we watched the Florida Derby. And I think I told you before the race, I was like, man, obviously I was picking Sovereignty, and I was like, I so want him to win because I want him. He's my Derby horse. If he wins here, boom, I'm locked him in. And then he lost, and it's just like, oh no, then you're like, I gotta go back to the drawing. And I ended up picking journalism, but I also, you and I both use Sovereignty in everything, right? And it kind of grew back to it. So, but yeah, like I don't think that say Nearly doesn't win or Chief Wallaby doesn't win, but they run like a really good, almost like a similar Fountain of Youth where it's like 1-2. I think you could still like, I'm not gonna cross out Nearly. Or especially Chief Wallaby, considering he's so lightly raced. But you do need to see them run. You need to stay like this is the race, right? You've got to see that effort go up a notch from the last race to have some sort of, belief that they can do it in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, you don't want a giant step backwards. That's for sure. It's tough to take that giant step back and then make it back forward for the Derby. I mean, you have like Mandaloon flopped in his last race before the Derby, and he came back and ran okay. He sort of won. He is the winner, the official winner. But, so it can happen. But more often than not, you at least want to see a solid effort. And look, in the case of Nearly, in the case of Chief Wallaby, if you don't see a solid effort, you might not see him in the gate. Like, they still need to get a few points, and I certainly think they will. I'm not saying they're not going to, but again, it's major, big time. Hey, we need to run really well, and that just adds to the excitement.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about last weekend, just briefly, as we get into today's. We don't want to spend too much time on that, but what were your thoughts on last weekend's racing? Emerging Market and Full Effort, two horses that won their races. Emerging Market obviously had come into that race, into the Louisiana Derby on one start, and that was that maiden special weight at Tampa, and then I wouldn't say he dominated the Louisiana Derby, but he looked about as good as you'd want him to look for a horse making a second start in the Louisiana Derby. So what were your thoughts on that race?
Yeah, absolutely. I am very skeptical that he can win the Kentucky Derby off just two races. I'll say that right off the bat before, I say anything else, but he proved to me in that race, he's a very, very, very good horse. It's really hard to win a prep off of one race, right? And he did it. It was a 1 3/16 race. That's hard to do as well, to run that long for the first time as well. So, when he rounded the turn, my head was everywhere, like, oh, this could be great, because he looked like a beast rounding the turn. And then I think understandably, I think he got a pretty darn tired, but give him credit for battling and getting the win. It was a big win and a nice ticket to cash for sure. But look, I think for the Kentucky Derby, it is a little bit too much too soon. If you told me, hey, I think he's going to win the Travers, yeah, I could see it. I think he's a good horse. I just don't know that he can, win the Derby off of those two races.
Yeah. In order for me to get there with him in terms of the winning the Kentucky Derby, and I know it's not really fair to say, but you almost needed to see a insane effort where that, like, what you thought was about to happen.
Yes.
And then he just continued down the stretch and extended, 5, 6, 7 lengths. And you're like, oh shit, this horse is like American Pharoah, he's like that. He's so good. But to me, that effort was right in the similar of a lot of the other horses that are in that. I'm not saying he's by any means bad. I just think that's going to be a lot to ask.
He showed that turn of foot was pretty elite. Like, it was like, whoa. And then it was like, oh. You know what I mean? Listen, I think if he makes that big turn of foot and kind of puts Pavlovian away, even though he only has 2 starts, I'd kind of be thinking, yeah, I may go with him, or at least have him on a ticket or whatever. And I still may. We still have time, right? But, again, it's like, okay, 2 starts, you need to kind of be way the best, or at least, more than just maybe a little bit better than the rest of the horses, which I think it's arguably that he's even that. So, for me right now, I would label him kind of as a toss for the Derby specifically. But like I told you after the race, that's could be changed because we don't really know what we're going to see. We think we're going to see some good stuff the next 2 weeks, but we may not.
Yeah, I'd say his market could go, no pun intended, or maybe a little bit, could go up or down compared to what we see these next 2 weeks for sure. Yeah. What about Full Effort? He, I made a comment on Twitter after the race, like, Full Effort is Final Gambit. Final Gambit is Full Effort. Like, they just, similar ways they got into the race. So they look similar. Like, he seems like a horse that, and we said it last week, like, he seems like a horse that, I'm not going to be surprised if he runs top 4 in the Kentucky Derby, because he's kind of got that late style. But at the same time, I didn't leave the race thinking, wow, he went from like a contender to, I think he can win it.
I think if that race was on the dirt, I think we would be really going crazy about him. I think because it's on synthetic and because there isn't any dirt form, we just go, well, I don't know. I thought it was super impressive. Again, maybe not for the Derby. I think he's better than Final Gambit. Like, I thought he was awesome. Because I thought Stark Contrast ran big and he passed him easy. Stark Contrast may have moved a little too soon. That's possible for sure. But man, I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked really, really good. But again, for the Derby, I don't know. I think he's going to be one I'll have on tickets underneath. probably not to win. That's kind of where I look. But look, if we get there and there's a blazing fast pace and we can kind of project that, he becomes pretty interesting. I thought he ran a huge race.
I honestly, you and I were texting during the day, and yeah, I'm with you. I thought Stark Contrast ran like massive. I don't think he didn't get the best of Trip.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still he just seemed like, oh, he's going to be much the best, and then you started seeing Full Effort kind of gear into form, and you're like, oh shit, never mind. So yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time taking that. I know we've talked a lot about it, being less of a throw out race, but he to me seems more like a turf horse, and I have a hard time kind of getting fully on board with him as a Derby winner. But again, I definitely think the right pace setup. I mean, it's going to be hard pressed to find a horse that closes better than that guy. He is a beast of a closer, and he always comes running. So that it's just, I think it's going to be a matter of what kind of happens up in front of him.
I think he did what a lot of people want Golden Tempo to do, which is actually close and close really, really strongly and not have a bunch of excuses and just win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Golden Tempo, I'll take Full Effort over him. I really will. I think
I would too, for sure.
I think
Golden Tempo's had too many chances at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
at least Full Effort is winning. You know what I mean?
Or getting very close.
Yeah. And I don't really care what surface it's on at that point, because it's just at least you're seeing an effort. Whereas Golden Tempo just seems like he's all hype and and it's always an excuse with him. Yeah, I don't understand the kind of the continued love for Golden Tempo at this point, but he does feel like he's going to get a lot of hype once again in the Derby.
Yep, I totally agree. I do think you said he's Final Gambit, and I mean, hell, he reminds you a lot of him for sure. I think this horse is a lot better than Final Gambit. That doesn't mean this horse is going to run fourth in the Kentucky Derby. It's a different thing, right? I mean, Final Gambit ran fourth in the Kentucky Derby, and I don't think he's ran a step since. I think this horse could run eighth in the Kentucky Derby and then go win 2 or 3. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. No, I agree. I would be shocked if he won the Derby. I'll just put it that way. I don't think it's impossible considering this year's class, but I will say this. I left the race more impressed with him than I was going in, and I think that says about as much as you'd expect out of that race. Emerging Market, I think I hyped him too much in my head, where I left the race kind of lower than I wanted to be going into it, or leaving the race, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's not really fair to be that way, but it reminds me a lot of the class president and Silent Tactic, or the Chief Wallaby and Commandment. And it's like, we want to criticize some of these horses who don't win, but it's like, damn, he did win. He got the job done, even though it was not as impressive as you wanted.
Yeah.
It was a second start going longer than any of these horses have gone. And he battled through. Pavlovian, I don't think it's a good look, but still, he got the job done.
I can totally tell you overhyped Emerging Market in your head, and here's how I could tell you. The track was playing super fast, right? And so we were kind of talking on the Matt Denny's chain with John and Ryan. It's like, yeah, you're going to see some big times. And you go Emerging Market, there's no telling what he's going to run. And then Touch Upon a Star runs this massive time. He's like, oh man, wait till you see Emerging Market. I was like, Jared, he's not Touch Upon a Star. Yeah, you got him way over.
I wanted him to be, though. I wanted him to be that wins,
good.
Yeah. Well, I had to go back to reality a little bit.
That's what the game's about, though, right? Getting excited about horses, and you were super excited. And then when he won, it was like, well, yeah, he won, but I thought he was gonna set the track on fire.
Yeah, I kind of did. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he may have, or at least it would have looked better had. I think that was the other part for me, is Pavlovian almost won the race, and that would have been just the biggest gut punch if that horse goes and wins. Did you take negative kind of result from that because of who he finished second, or who he beat there?
not as him being a good horse, but for him for the Derby once again. Yes. I mean, are you ever playing Pavlovian in the Derby? I'm not.
Never once.
So it's hard to get to him. Again, it's just like he needs to get better, and I'm not sure that a lightly raced horse running in the Kentucky Derby is going to get better. That's my problem, right, with him. And again, I reserve the right to change my mind because there's 2 weeks left, and we may not see anything just great, or we may see something great. Who knows? But at this point, I just yes, it's just I don't see it for the Derby.
On the screen here, I do have the list that we put out this week for our top 10. We added John to the mix this year, or this week, I should say. And again, like look at this, you got Commandment, Chief Wallaby, and Nearly all running this weekend in that race. And then of course Renegade versus Silent Tactic in that race, or in the Arkansas Derby. So like that, this is going to completely be shaken up. But look, I think we're going to see the emerging market. You and I both had him at 7. John put him at 1. He's got Wallaby at 10. We had him at 2. I think you and I both, and from that standpoint, are in the exact same agreement. Like, we do think Chief Wallaby is better than Commandment, but based off of, the head-to-head, sure, put Commandment over him. But this is the race, right? I think this weekend, when you look at this top 10, I wouldn't be surprised if the top 10 looks something, or at least top 3 or 4 looks something like Chief Wallaby, Renegade, and, the Commandment, or Nearly, or something like that. Like, I think those horses, Renegade could move up all the way to 2. I mean, really, like, I think that this weekend, Silent Tactic could move all the way to top 3. I think that some of these horses that are ranked 7, 8, that's Nearly shit. That horse could go all the way up to top 2 or 3. So or Renegade could fall off the list. Silent Tactic could fall off the list. That's why these next 2 weekends, like, don't take too much stock into this list, because we don't know. Like, there's so much that could change.
Well, this NTRA poll is a ranking based on accomplishment more than who you're going to think's winning the Derby. And so really it's a poll. I mean, it's a meaningful poll for sure, but it's also like the biggest races haven't been run for a lot of these horses yet. So the next 2 weeks will drastically change it. Now, after the next 2 weeks, then I think it really means a lot. But you've got incompletes, basically. You could put an I next to a lot of these horses because they haven't ran their final Derby prep, where Emerging Market has, Full Effort has. So, I think then 2 weeks, you're going to see a completely, well, you may not see a completely different looking list, but it has a chance to really, really change.
Well, I mean, I just one very simple point to that is that you look at our numbers 2 through 4 there. Chief Wallaby, Emerging Market, and Class President, they've ran a combined 3 prep races. Combined. And so, I mean, that it just goes to show you that, like, yeah, we've got them ranked, but there's really nothing to go off of, And Emerging Market's tricky because, we're not going to see him again. But at least we get to see Class President. It did sound like he's going to go to the Bluegrass. And we get to see Chief Wallaby, of course, this weekend to really see if, like, are they going to be able to take that next step and become like Derby type winner contenders? Or was that kind of like, because like you said earlier, like, you don't want to see them have that big effort and say the Rebel with Class President or Chief Wallaby, even though you lost in the Fountain of Youth, and then come back in their next races and kind of stink it up. And you're like, so what do you do with them in the Derby,
Yeah. It's certainly, that's the thing. And you just, again, we're on repeat here, for a few weeks now, but that's what makes the last 3 weeks of this thing so much fun. And to me, this is more fun than the actual Derby, the lead up to it, at all the different tracks and trying to decipher and figure it out. And that's what makes these weeks so important, because again, they don't have to run off the screen. They got to show you something in these last preps, or it's like, I'm not sure about the Derby.
Yeah, and we didn't mention, like, the Puma was on our just missed list, such as he could definitely, after this weekend, could get added to the rankings, or could fall even further down the just miss, right? I think there's just like again, like and that's what you said. It's like it's kind of like whenever every time we do these NTRA polls, you're like, all right, I'll do it, but you're also like you said, you're like going off of some like small amount of information. You're still waiting. Like a list really. What's the point of a list until you're actually done with the preps?
Yeah, I mean, it would be trying to like, hey, rank the best 5 basketball players on what you've seen so far, and some of them have played 3 games, and some of them played 1, and some of them may have not played at all. And it's like, why don't we? I wish they would wait until the first week or maybe the second week in April before you start voting. I think that would make it a lot more just better and a lot more. It just make a lot more sense because it's a lot of guessing and it's a lot of, is a second place effort in the Fountain of Youth better than, the Tampa Bay Derby? I don't know, but we'll know in a couple of weeks what it looks like, So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, anything really now leading up is just filler until we get to it. So, yeah. But hey, speaking of, let's start getting into it because that was a look at last weekend, but we got a big weekend of racing, including the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby, 2 of the biggest preps of the season. Definitely going to be giving us some answers on potential Kentucky Derby favorites and horses that can win. Then we're also going to do some rapid fire. We're going to go across the pond to UAE for the UAE Derby and, of course, the $12 million Dubai World Cup. They are going to race, sounds like. And then we got some Oaks preps to talk about, both at Oaklawn and Gulfstream. So tons of action this weekend. Let's go. Yeah, they're going to run. You and I were talking before we hopped on air. It's like the hype definitely doesn't feel like it's there this year for Dubai. And we kind of, is it because what's happened overseas and I'll be honest, like I didn't think they're like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that. And then when magnitude shipped over, and I was like, well, shit, I guess they probably are, And so I don't know what it is, but definitely feel a lack of hype this year compared to normal years.
Yeah, it feels really just kind of. I haven't heard a thing. Yeah, so it's hopefully everything goes fine. Hopefully it goes smoothly. It doesn't feel like a regular Dubai World Cup. That's for sure.
Shotty is very excited for the Oaklawn Handicap, which, to be fair, would be amazing if it shows up with sovereignty versus journalism at Oaklawn.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm still skeptical that's going to happen, but I think we'll get at least one of them.
Well, I mean, you get sovereignty. That would be very good for sure. Yeah.
But it'd be awesome. Give you that.
I think I can't get my head to that until we're done with the Derby stuff.
I know, right?
Yeah. It's like, I know that it's coming up, but we got 2 huge weeks, so we'll worry about that later.
Oh, and it's saying to me, I know it shouldn't surprise me, but it's like it always sneaks up on me. It's like, oh yeah, Keeneland opens next week.
Yeah,
it's here, and I get it. The Bluegrass is always that last weekend, but it's still it's always when the Bluegrass shows. To me, it's like, oh, spring's here. We're good. Like spring has arrived.
Exactly. And I agree because it's like I have the Bluegrass like on my list of things next week to do, but it's like it doesn't click. It's like, oh, that's Keeneland as well. So I'm with you on that. Yeah.
And it's not just because that's the thing. Like, I mean, the Bluegrass is the Bluegrass, but there's so much good racing that happens at Keeneland. Spring meet. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And so the turf action and all these horses and So I'm kind of with you. Just like, oh yeah. That means the Keeneland is opening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, let's kick things off. Let's go to Arkansas. We'll start with the Arkansas Derby. This is a Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. Race 13 going off at 7:48 Eastern. Wild night, $1.5 million are running for. Field of 9, although it's going to be scratched down because Napoleon Solo decided not to run or whatever reason they entered, but he's not going to run. He's going to go to the wood. So going to be scratched down to 8. Red Island Rebels will run here. But, I mean, I don't want to disregard the rest of them, but it's kind of like, are you going silent tactic or are you going renegade? And then I guess the part B to that question is, does Baffert have another trick that he can somehow get litmus tests kind of to rebound here and win a race that he knows how to win?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the race could get complicated or could be just as easy as the 2 or the 6. I am not as confident that the the quote unquote one of the logicals will win this one, because I do think it's a little bit more tricky. Where the Florida Derby, it's like if one of those logical horses don't win, I don't know what to say. This is a really fascinating race to me. I came into this thinking Renegade would probably be the pick, and I just couldn't get there with him all the way. I ended up going number 2, Silent Tactic, on top. I think with Napoleon Solo out, that does hurt the pace, but Redland Rebels in helps the pace. Obviously, I think Brickland's going to go out there a little bit as well. I think Litmus Test will push him a little bit. I don't think he'll be on the lead, but man, I just kept going back to Silent Tactic. The last race, I think how you view the last race is how you're kind of going to view Silent Tactic. Some people think he hung in that race with Class President, and he's the reason Class President won. Some people think, hey, Class President just ran a big race. I kind of lean towards, I think Class President's a good horse. I think he ran a big race. I kind of feel like Silent Tactic ran pretty big there. I think if he runs that race here, he's better than these horses. How about that? So I'm going to go number 2, Silent Tactic, on top. A horse I have not picked all year. I think this is a really good spot. I think he's going to like a mile and 1/8. Hey, Renegade may outkick him. We'll see. I really think Silent Tactic's going to run big, and I think he's going to win.
Well, let's start with, I hope you're right. Obviously, I love Silent Tactic. I think what I go back to in that race of why Silent Tactic lost, I think it was very minute, but it was just enough to where, and even, Cassie's mentioned it here in the last couple of days. I saw some quotes like that he was probably a touch too close to the pace. And I think, that took just enough starch out of his kick there when he needed that kick to battle back with Class. Because I'm with you. I think Class President is very good. Obviously, we'll see if we're right about that next week. But I do think he is. And to do what he did in that race, considering that was his first, big stakes race and going around 2 turns, I think that was huge. But I do think the fact that Silent Tactic was close. I mean, you go back and watch that replay. He was up near the lead when they hit the top of the stretch. He was right there where you're used to seeing him, way back still and making that late run. So I do think that was ultimately, I don't necessarily think he hung. I just don't think he had the kick that he normally gets. Now, the flip side of that is, okay, he's going to need to back off. I think that's going to happen. I think they kind of are going to make sure that's going to happen here. Is there enough pace in front of him when you do that in order to attack and still have the kick? And so that's kind of where I kind of kept kind of backing off with picking Silent Tactic on top. And then, with the 6 Renegade, who I am going to pick to win, I feel like that last race, the Sam F. Davis, it was like, the first one was like, okay, the Remsen, good effort, got beat by Paladin. He took another gear in that last time in the Sam F. Davis, and felt like the light bulb went off, so to speak. And the fact that Irad is coming in to ride here versus staying on Commandment, wherever you want to look at, whatever that looks like to you, I think that's a great sign for Renegade. And so, they were. It's pretty I don't know if Davis was over yet, and they're like, yeah, we're going to Arkansas. That's our Derby horse, our Arkansas Derby horse. And so I think that there was no backups, there was no weird reasons why he's here. This is the plan. They're going to run here. I think he's going to be tough. I think he gets the jump on Silent Tactic, and I don't think Silent Tactic will be quite good enough to get him.
I want to talk about the IRAD situation, because I do think it's fascinating, and I don't think anybody really knows the answer that is an IRAD or a Jockey agent. What's your take on it? Do you think it's as simple as, hey, I chose Renegade over Commandment?
Do I think he chose? No.
What do you think it is?
I think that he looked at it like, this is the horse that I have the best chance for in the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
I think it's less about this weekend than it is about the full picture, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yep. No, that makes total sense. And I think that's the, to me,
I don't look, for instance, we'll talk about it next. I don't look at Commandment like, oh shit, he must be awful now because he left. Right. And so I don't I'm not taking as much weight, but I certainly add a little bit of weight. The fact that he did come and think this is a Derby horse, my Derby horse for IRAD here.
So everything is a guess. Let me be clear. And I've heard every theory on our comment section. And I think your theory is the most logical one to get at, but I don't want to do that. That's no fun. I missed this comment, and this is interesting because this is 1,000% my theory on it. Kevin says Aragona mentioned that he committed to this horse before the Fountain of Youth. If you watch the shows I've been on today, that's my theory, because you just said it. As soon as he crossed the wire in the Sam F. Davis, they were talking about the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah.
And that was long before what happened with Commandment and the Fountain of Youth. I think IRAD committed to Renegade early, and then Commandment did what he did. And what are you going to do? He already committed. This is a guy he rides for all the time. He committed to this horse. He maybe Commandment outran what they thought he was going to do. Maybe he just didn't even think about it or worry about it. I don't think it's a negative or positive for anybody. How about that? I look at this and I go, you know what? I think he committed early. I definitely don't think it's a bad thing he's on Renegade because he's a talented jockey. I don't knock Commandment much for it, and I don't move Renegade up much for it either.
Well, certainly not Commandment. I mean, shit, he's got Pratt aboard. I mean, it's not like that was I don't know who, if Renegade, if IRAD would have stayed on Commandment, who would have ended up riding Renegade, but I imagine it would have been not too bad of a jockey. So yeah, I mean, I honestly, the jockey part is a very small factor in why I picked Renegade. I think honestly, I've looked at so many analytics of this race, whether from any number you like to look at, and it's just back and forth. They're so close. Silent Tactic and Renegade, they both are running very similar races. They're both even though Silent Tactic lost in the Rebel, he did improve numbers wise from any figure. He improved in that race. Same as Renegade. They both are going into this one feeling like they're going to run another good, like a better race than their last race, right? Mm-hmm. I certainly think Silent Tactic will benefit from the extra distance. He just always seems like a horse that wants longer. Cassie has a lot of confidence in how he's doing, but also you got to respect Anytime Pletcher. We saw that with Class President. In the lows, obviously big Oaklawn people. So I think they want to win this one. The 3-2 is a little low, I think, but I understand why. But I don't love the 3-2. I would much rather play the 5-2. Although I don't know that you'll get either one of those prices.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't know how it'll be bad. I kind of think Renegade's going to go down, and I kind of think Silent Tactic's going to go down a little bit as well. Yeah, you are right. I mean, I'm with you. Obviously, we've looked at everything. That's what we do. And it does just kind of depend on where you look. If you look at time form, it says Silent Tactic is the horse to beat. Mm-hmm. Like, he should be the favorite. But if you look at Bayer, it's like, yeah, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? It kind of looks like Renegade's the one to beat. These numbers, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They trade off being right and wrong, so it's hard to just trust one of them for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's up in the air. For me, I am confident Silent Tactic's going to be a bigger price than Renegade. I am confident of that. Honestly, dude, I think he's a little better. And I could be totally off. I think Silent Tactic's a little bit better than Renegade. So I that's why I went with him. I made a pretty simple decision. I think he's a little better. I just don't buy IRAD's here, so it's an automatic win crowd. And it certainly could be. And I'm not going to talk anybody off Renegade. He's very logical, but I just think Silent Tactic's a little better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think both are legitimate Kentucky Derby contenders, right? I even kind of regardless of what happens, unless one of them just runs completely awful here. But that's the thing about both of these horses. They run every time, mm-hmm. They always are making their move. Silent Tactic has finished no worse than second, and it's in 5 career starts. Every time has been, he's brought it. The Smarty, he ran into a no pace, and then this Rebel, he probably should have won, right? He was right there. So, and rather than one bad, the debut for Renegade was not good. Past that, the horse has been awesome. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, they both bring it. They're both. I think the tactics. I guess if Napoleon Solo would have ran here, I think I could have gotten more I think I could have gotten a silent tactic because I think the pace would have secured the pace. I'm nervous. Let's talk a little bit about litmus test because he scares me because it's Baffert and because I know that we've seen him run decent races. I don't think being on the lead is what they want, and that in blinkers off tells you right that they're trying to relax him a little bit, and I think based on that, they're like, no matter what, don't go, right? Like, do whatever you like. Do not end up on the lead if you're telling Ariata. So I don't think he's going to be on the lead, but I do think he's got too much speed to where they're just not going to be close. So it's just kind of I'm curious of what he actually is going to do from the 9-hole.
Well, I think he's going to sit off the pace this time. I think that's 100% what you have to do. I said right after the race, no, that's not what he wants to do. You just go watch those 2-year-old races where he's on the lead. He doesn't run very well. And then you watch races where he comes off of it. He seems to have a little more punch. John White and I kind of had a back and forth discussion today because John is still high on him. And, the fundamental difference is like, hey, I'm betting him. But this was John saying, I'm betting him back because I don't think he ran very well. And I'm not going to let one bad race ruin it. We're going to get a better price here. And I believe he can win. And I kind of told back to John, I was like, we're never going to see eye to eye because we don't kind of see that race the same. He ran like I thought he would. He ran worse than you thought he would, right?
Yeah.
So if you think there's more than what he did last time out, it does make sense to play him because the price is going to be there. If he kind of did what you thought he was going to do, then I can't really say, oh yeah, that was a bad race. No, I think that's kind of sort of what he does. So also the two numbers that fit in this race are coming out of races that just didn't come back very strongly. So that's another skepticism of me. I don't think he's really ever beat a horse that's very good.
That's where
I can't support him here because I never really believed in him to begin with.
That's where I was getting to next. If you go back and look at his form, one, it's inflated buyers typically we've seen from the West Coast and those Alpha Charity and the Breeders' Cup. And the Breeders' Cup, the longer we go, the more that race seems to be, you don't have 10 off, Mr. AP and, Brand, he's turned out to be not very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Breeders for Charity, he got beat by Blackout Time and Ted Noffey. And then the Los Alpha Charity, I wouldn't say barely, but he beat Blacksmith. Mm-hmm. We just saw him. Like, that horse sucks, right? Mm-hmm. And so and then when he actually got, class president, top 5 Derby contender, silent tactic, wherever you want to put him, but certainly top 10, it wasn't close, right? And so I don't know that he is a terrible horse at all, but I don't think he's at this level. If it was trained by anybody else but Bob Baffert, I would probably just toss. But I think it's the fact that, and here's the other thing too, and I wanted to throw this out there because you and I have been talking a lot about this, and I actually went through and tried to research the best I could. And I don't know, you and I have been going to Oaklawn for a very long time, been following Oaklawn for a very long time. You and I couldn't remember a time that Bob Baffert brought a horse in for a prep race and then early in the season and then left the horse at Oaklawn until the next prep race. Like he always keeps him close to the vest. He always keeps him, brings him home, trains him, takes him back out. If that's going to, he did it with Farrow, right? That's one example, but to lose on top of that, right? To lose like he did and then keep him there and then just say, well, shit, we're going to run him back and then not being like kind of, in charge of the train. I'm sure he's told him what to do, how to train, but he's not there in person. I don't know. I don't think that's a good sign.
Well, let's look at glass half full, glass half empty. You want to do it like that? Because I do think there's some mixed signals. To me, there's two really bad signs. You're telling me this is a serious Kentucky Derby horse and Bob Baffert hasn't physically looked at him since February? Like, been in the same state as him? Come on.
Yeah.
He's been 2 time zones away for a month of a horse that is a serious Kentucky Derby horse. I ain't buying it. Okay. So that's that, right? I know Arietta's been working with the horse, working out, all that stuff. I ain't buying that either. I think that's odd. And that's not a knock on Arietta at all. I think he's a good jockey. I actually think he'll do fine. It's just not that good of a sign that any of Baffert's actual riders are going in to ride him. I just think that's a bad sign. So those are two bad things. Good things to think about. Baffert said right after the race, hey, the track was a little bit different than what we've been training on. So he's gotten races or workouts over the track. So that's good. He's already committed to sending horses to Kentucky. Did he kind of like an actual string after the Kentucky Derby I'm talking about? Did he kind of say, well, why bring him back when they're going to Kentucky after this? Possibly. So you could, those are things that you could say, well, those are good things. I tend to lean more towards the bad, more towards glass half empty, more towards, you're telling me a guy like Bob Baffert, who seems to be a micromanager, doesn't want to be around his number one Kentucky Derby contender, which is what we were told he was once upon a time. I don't buy it.
It doesn't, if especially, it would never have happened. Like if he won the race, there's no 0% chance, because meaning he thinks he's a very good horse. Like he's bringing him home, right? He's bringing him home and getting him ready for the next race. But like, just to leave him there, just kind of felt like, well, shit. Like I don't know, what am I gonna like? Just keep him there. It saves us on the cost to bring him out, and let's just try it again.
Like I said, there are positives. Hey, you could some very sane argument back to me is like, hey, he wanted to get race workouts over the track, idiot. Okay, yeah, I get it. You could say that. You could be right. You could be proven right Saturday. I just know from following this guy, this is odd.
Yeah. And problem is too, is like, we know he can't outkick Silent Tactic. I mean, I just think I don't think they're really relatively close in terms of that. And now he's going to outkick Renegade as well. It's a lot to ask, right? He's going to have, going to have to improve his buyer big time. Just if you want to look at that, just off that last race drastically, even his inflated career high buyers are probably going to be, I don't know if they'll be quite enough. Right. And so he's going to have to turn around and run a different race than we've seen. I guess, again, it's possible it's Bob Baffert, but that's the other part, right? It's Bob Baffert, but is it? Because he hasn't been with him for the last 2 months. So I don't know. It just seems odd. Let's put it that way.
I think if you're supporting him in this race, meaning betting him in this race, I think partly it's, hey, he's going to get back to a really good race. Like he's going to get back to his absolute best. Okay, fine. And I also kind of think you have to go, you know what? I don't think Silent Tactic or Renegade are very good. Then if you're going to go into it like that, he probably, it's like, that seems to make sense. Right. So, and he also has to bounce back better than Blackout Time, who could also bounce back. So he's another kind of thing here where you got to look at it and go, well, he has a chance to bounce back just like Litmus Test. And theoretically, Blackout Time would have needed that race more than Litmus Test last time out because you hadn't seen him since October.
Yeah.
With Litmus Test being December, that's a big difference. Couple months there.
Yeah, Blackout Time, another one of those, put him in like the Napoleon Solo category. Even Further Ado, although Further Ado looked way better on his debut than those two. But like those really good 2-year-olds, or look seemingly really good 2-year-olds who did not come back to run particularly well or win in that case. And Blackout Time certainly, finishing fourth. 2 of these horses were, Class President, the Silent Tactic, Litmus Test. Definitely needed it, like you said. He's certainly eligible to improve from that. Does he have what it takes, do you think, in order to improve enough like this quick?
That's an impossible question. I don't think he's good enough, even if he does improve. That's the way I was never overly high on him. So, but I think that's what makes this race have a chance to be kind of funky.
Yeah. Because
as much as I like Silent Tactic in this race, and I like Renegade too, right? I don't think, if you're picking Renegade, and that's super logical, I don't think they're great. Some people think they're great. I just think they're good. So if you can just get to a level just a little bit better than what that 2-year-old form was for Blackout Time or Litmus Test, you're there, right? You got a chance. So I just don't know if he's that good to begin with. That's the problem.
All right, so they hit the top of the stretch. You've got Redland Rebels and maybe say Blackout Time or, maybe Tiptastic or somebody up there with them. They're kind of here comes the moves from these horses. Renegade obviously will probably be pretty close at that point. Litmus Test will certainly be right there as well. Litmus Test was close to the lead at the top of the stretch or on the lead until he wasn't. So what do you see taking place for that final stretch? You think Renegade kind of gets the best of all of them, and then to their outside, here comes Silent Tactic, and a matter of can he catch them, or is that kind of how do you think Silent Tactic will get the jump on Renegade, or do you think it's vice versa?
I think Redland Rebels turns for home with the lead. I think Litmus Test and Blackout Time are the first to catch them, and then I think Renegade and Silent Tactic are coming down the lane and catching them. That's how I kind of look at it, with Taptastic coming in third. So that's kind of how I look at it. I think it's going to come down to, I do think if you're backing Blackout Time or Litmus Test, you're going to get a thrill at the top of the lane, and who knows, maybe they hold on. But the way I kind of see it is one of those two are going to kind of get the lead, and then they're going to get ran down by Renegade and ultimately Silent Tactic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting jockey race, too, with that between Irad and Torres. And obviously, probably lean towards Irad on that one. But, I just kind of like who goes first and how, don't let that horse get the jump on this one. And if Silent Tactic starts to make his move a little earlier than Irad thought, does he go, or do you know what I mean? So there's going to be some race play going on there as well in this race. But, yeah, this is a big race, guys. I've been saying it for weeks now. Renegade here, a win here, I think would kind of put him right there in the mix for those top, three choices of the Kentucky Derby. I think Silent Tactic with the win here. I don't know that he's probably right in that category, maybe top five in the Kentucky Derby. But I mean, gosh, both these horses would become huge Kentucky Derby contenders with a win or even a good effort, top two effort. Hopefully we see a fun stretch run. I'm going Renegade, and Halterman is going Silent Tactic to win the Arkansas Derby. All right, let's move up to the next one here. Again, before we get on to the Florida Derby, guys, both betting Bibles for the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby, those entire cards are available over the website at racingdudes.com. If you haven't seen it already, we have the updated versions of these betting Bibles. It's better than anything we've ever done, and it's all on your digital platform there on the dashboard. And so the scratches are updated basically instantly. So if you're always wondering what, the morning of what changes are made, our picks will be changed right there. You can see them. You can see what time stamped when it happened. And it's just a way better betting experience. You get our top fours. You get how we're playing every race, multi-race wagers, top four picks from everybody at Racing Dudes, AI picks, even John White's picks. So everything you really want to tackle both the betting Bibles for both days is there, and they're free if you get a premium subscription, which, like, we have 2 this weekend. We'll have 3 next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's 5 right there you get for $70 if you subscribe for that. So not a bad time to do it over at racingdudes.com. All right. This one here is this one's going to be fun. Now, I said that the last race might have some Kentucky Derby contenders or top 3. This one feels like the winner of this one might be the Kentucky Derby favorite or the Kentucky Derby winner, and that is the Florida Derby over at Gulfstream Park, race 14, going off at 6:42 p.m. Eastern, mile and eighth, $1 million, field of 9 here. We guess it beat down to field of 8 with Redland Rebels going to run in Arkansas, but let's not go past that one because, look, Chief Wallaby versus Commandment versus Nearly versus the Puma. Where are you going?
What a fun race this is, right? I mean, this feels like, kind of almost like a Kentucky Derby, right? It's just a main event type of feel for sure. Look, I went number 2, Chief Wallaby on top. I really love this horse. I thought he was so good last time out in the Fountain of Youth, even though he did get beat by Commandment. I still thought he ran extremely well, improved a lot, just his second race, first time going long, everything like that. So, look, I think Chief Wallaby's the horse to beat here. I think Commandment is definitely a very, very worthy foe. No question about it. I'm very excited to see Nearly and see who he is and learn a lot about him. I think the Puma is a cut below those 3, to be completely honest. However, I don't know that for sure. We've seen him take on kind of the Maybe the B team, maybe the low A team over in Tampa. Now he's getting the big dogs. Let's see what happens. So again, Chief Wallaby for me, though, loved the last race. I think he wins that race if he doesn't get hung out wide. He didn't get the best of trips, and he still ran like he did there. I think he gets a better trip drawn from the inside. I like Chief Wallaby quite a bit.
Yeah, this race, someone said to here, like that last race was good. This one feels special. This is a good one. This is about it. I mean, shit, we've got you and I have Chief Wallaby and Commandment 1-2. There's your top two, nearly top 5 fringed. Puma, if you want to throw that horse in. I mean, this is it's such a great race. It's like Commandment versus Chief Wallaby is enough. And then to throw in the mix with nearly. And then the Puma, I still feel like the Puma's been growing on me. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know that mentally he's able to do it, but that horse has got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of talent. He just can't figure out how to run straight most of the time. And it feels like nearly we haven't seen in 2 years. So it's like, what kind of horse is that? Could nearly come out and just steamboat all of them. And then, it's like, oh shit, never mind. I'm a Chief Wallaby. I just think to do what you did in that debut, in that 2-turn debut, in that kind of race against Commandment, way more established, got the worst trip of the two, still damn near won, had to learn a ton from it. Bill Mott, there was no like, hey, I don't know, like, let's back off a little bit. That didn't work out like we wanted. It was, we're going to Florida, right? Like, we're going to Florida. It's no question. I think he's going to run huge here, and he's going to have to, let's be honest. But I think he learned so much from that race. I think he's the better horse of him. And honestly, I think the biggest threat to him isn't Commandment. It's nearly, just because that we don't know. I feel like we don't know exactly what he is, because like on one regard, he's winning and and he's been impressive there too. Like, he hasn't beaten anybody. So that is kind of the concern when you're talking about nearly.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think, you have to make a decision first. It's like, okay, what do you think of Chief Wallaby going the extra distance versus nearly going the extra distance? What do you think if they both get equal trips? That's why I just think Chief Wallaby projects to be a better horse going longer here than nearly, or than Commandment. So that kind of, to me, I think Chief Wallaby gets revenge there. Do you think he's better than the Puma? I kind of do. And then, okay, what is nearly? Who is he? How good can he be? Is he overhyped? Is he just sitting on a powder keg because he really hasn't had a tough race? What is it? And I think nearly is the biggest danger without any question. He's also the biggest unknown. So that's very, very interesting as well. Like, you just don't know who he is yet. I've got nearly in second. I think he's the other horse to play here. With Chief Wallaby, I think he's the biggest threat. He's also a horse that if he runs fourth, I'm not going to be overly shocked.
Yeah. There, like I said, there's 4 main contenders of the race, let's say, and at least one, right, if not 2 of them are bound to kind of disappoint, right? And I nearly could win fairly easily and could finish 4th fairly. Like, I don't. Neither would really surprise me that much. Like, if you look back at nearly, like, here's his winning margins. He's won by 9, he's won by 5, and he's won by 5 3/4.
Yeah.
Like, this horse is fucking good. And then we're like, I don't know. We also could sit here. And by the way, 97, 98 buyers the last 2 efforts. Like, he's brought it. Now, the problem is he's not facing anyone, but he's also winning them like he's not facing anybody. So I think that is a big part of that.
To be clear, if Chief Wallaby wasn't in the race, I would pick nearly. Like, I would, because I think, because what you said, he's looked so sharp. And I listen, if Brad Cox is questioning the distance on Commandment, I do think that's something. I think he's a really nice horse, but when you go further and farther, if you got a horse that the trainer is kind of questionable with the distance, it does worry you a little bit. I also think he would have come in off of a loss. if he would have if they would have flipped trips. Now he fired big and give him a ton of credit too at the same breath. But I think I project Nearly to be a little bit better than Commandment in this race. And I think he's better than the Puma. So if Wallaby wasn't in the race, I would take Nearly. And again, I think Nearly is a horse that from a number standpoint is right there with all these, with the two big ones there, Commandment and Wallaby, but he's done it against horses that aren't very good. Now, the flip side of it is, hey, he didn't beat him by 2 lengths. He beat him by 5 and he could have beat him by 20. Like it was a paid workout both times. So that's great. I think he should fire a huge race. I mean, he's been waiting since January to run here. The other big thing is Pletcher absolutely has treated this horse from the very start like his best horse. Mm-hmm. I mean, immediately it was like, yep, that's the Florida Derby horse. Well, that's where he runs his best horse most of the time. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he's never really missed a beat. Now he's not ran since January, right? But they acted like that was the plan from the get-go. It was never like, hey, we're going to run in the Fountain of Youth. And it's like, well, something happened. Now, it's like, no, we're going to the Florida Derby. And whether you like that or not, that plan hasn't changed, right? And so, I think because like Commandment, because Nearly's just the only one that, like, I think I know what the Puma is. I think I know what Commandment is. I don't know what Nearly is, right? I think I know what Chief Wallaby is, but at the same time, we know nothing about Chief Wallaby because we've only seen him once in a race that really mattered. And so I think those two are the ones that, like, you got to lean on here, Nearly and Chief Wallaby, because they seem to have the most raw talent and they're somewhat unknown in terms of this kind of race. So do you think that Nearly... Who will go up? You think Nearly will actually go off the favorite?
No, I think it'll be Chief Wallaby, the favorite, Nearly second choice. That's what I think it'll be. And the way I would kind of phrase it, it's like out of these big four, Chief Wallaby obviously would not surprise me. That's my top pick. Nearly would not surprise me if he won. Commandment would not surprise me. The Puma would be a bit of a surprise. And then the rest of them, I would be shocked. That's how I kind of look at it, right? So those top three, the 2, the 4, 6, I can sit here and hear all kinds of cases for him and not be able to argue it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think the Puma's got. I know he won the last race, but I do feel like the Puma's got like a big race win in there somewhere. I don't know where it is. If it's going to be after, it's going to be the summer, if it's going to be the Derby, wherever. But like he's weird enough, and he's got enough talent when you watch him run. Like, if he could figure it out, I think he could do. He could run well. The problem is, I love that they ran him here. By the way, like I want to say that because, like, man, what better way to get the acid test right here? Boom! Like, let's just face him against the three of the best 3-year-olds we have in this race, and so we're gonna get a really good idea of how good the Puma is or might be right here. Derby favorite. Don't you think that? And I mean, even if Paladin wins the Bluegrass, I don't know. Unless something weird happens here, like if it's Chief Wallaby or Nearly, I would have a hard time thinking not one of those. Like the winner of this race isn't the Kentucky Derby favorite.
I think they should be. Yeah, I think they should be. And again, you always have that note of, well, maybe something goes crazy at Bluegrass or whatever. But yeah, I think they should be, and I think they will be. Like you kind of said it on a previous show. It's like, man, what if somebody jumps up and really wins this thing like nicely? Somebody wins this thing nicely and wins like kind of running away from them.
Yeah,
they're the favorite. I don't care what the odds board tell you; they're going to be the favorite.
Yeah,
in real life. So, this is it. Like, and again, if it's not Chief Wallaby and it's Nearly, Commandment, or even the Puma, they're going to be pretty damn highly regarded going into the Kentucky Derby.
And I'll say this, and I don't know if you agree or not, because I know you love Chief Wallaby too, but like, let's not forget that, Bill Mott came into this race with a horse last year and didn't win. Mm-hmm. And then that horse went on to win the Kentucky Derby and win the Belmont and win everything else. So, like, if there's ever a horse for Bill Mott that didn't win but still had a lot of upside, it would be Chief Wallaby. Because, like, this is a horse who's only making his third career start right here. And it's not like it's not like he's going, like if he brought this course to Arkansas, you would probably be like, yeah, he should win that one. But like, this is a tough race.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good. Like Chief Wallaby could run his eyeballs out again and lose again, because if Nearly brings a huge effort, for that example, then he gets second again. And so, but having said that, it wouldn't be a toss for me for Chief Wallaby heading into the Kentucky Derby if that's the route they ended up going, because I think he still has, out of anybody in this race, I think he's got the most like, hey, he lost, but I still really like him in the Kentucky Derby, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think, as we kind of know with Bill Mott, you can expect improvement. When they're young, race by race, they're improving. Yeah, I mean, the deal is none of them have to win here. What I would say is whoever it is, even the ones that aren't main contenders, if you want to kind of have a good feeling, you at least just need to see a real solid effort. Like, let's say Nearly loses, but he runs second or third, and then everything comes back strong in the race. Hey, he could move forward in that next start. I mean, he's kind of running off of a layoff a little bit. It's been so long, right? So maybe he needs a little bit of a race. Maybe there is a little regression here or there with some of these lightly raced horses. So it's winning this race. We're trying to get it right. You want to cash a ticket, but winning this race in terms of the Kentucky Derby, it's not absolutely essential. You just want to see a solid effort.
Yeah. And then hopefully we see a very similar race, because again, like it's kind of like, unless one of these horses is just an absolute monster, because the reality that one out of these four separates themselves enough from the other three, like to make it like 5 lengths or whatever, seems unlikely. Like it feels like it's going to be a relatively close race between, at least 2 of these. And so, it's at that point, like that means Nearly has to lose, or Chief Wallaby has to lose, right? Because unless there's a dead heat, you can't really expect them both to win. But for this race, I still think Chief Wallaby. I left that race. It's very rare for you to when you watch a horse lose, you're like, oh my gosh, like that was pretty awesome. And dude, across the board, like everyone is like, holy shit, Chief Wallaby is going to be a beast in that. And like I immediately was like, yeah, that's the horse that you want out of that one. And I think it showed to be right. I think it will show to be right on Saturday. Yeah, give me Chief Wallaby in a doozy of a Florida Derby. What do you think is the? What do you like? Do you think the Puma has got a better chance to win or to finish top 2, or out of the or finish like back of the pack? Like, do you think he is as automatic as Samchas?
No, I mean, I'm still just skeptical. I know he's good. I'm just skeptical how good, because I mean, now we're not talking about, hey, this horse is good, or maybe he's just average. We're talking about, we're looking at the Derby, right? And so that's a whole different level of he's good or he's not good enough. So I'm still skeptical that he's good enough to be the Derby winner.
Yeah,
I would probably say he has a better chance of finishing like 5th and 2nd, but it's also not. I don't know. Like if he finishes 2nd, I'm certainly not surprised, but I think he's got kind of some proving to do here.
Sister, I believe 3rd would put him.
I think he'd be in.
He would be in. It would be a little closer, maybe as a backer that you would like. He's got 20. I think he's got 20 now. He's got 20 right now, which is obviously outside looking in, but 100 points to the winner, 150, 25, 15, 10 for your top 5 in these races. So you'd be at 45 if he got 3rd in that case, and that'll get you in. That'll get you. I mean, it should put you in. Yeah.
If he gets 4th, he's in trouble. But top 3, he's in.
But obviously, you're hoping that he runs a little better than 3rd. But
he definitely is one. If he runs 3rd and it's like not a very good looking 3rd, and again, I'm not predicting this. I'm just saying it could happen. Then you may look at it and go, ooh, you know what I mean? Like he kind of needs to show something, because we haven't seen him since January.
Yeah. Guys, this is the best. Like, just remember, like, this is the best prep of the year. It's going to be the best. Like, we're going to look back at, this, and this will be the best. Well, like, that was the best prep. Now, it may not end up being the best productive one. Like, we'll see, I guess, how these horses, but going into it, this is the best prep that we've had, right? To have this kind of quality all lining up in the same race, Derby points, Derby on the line, like a lot of ramifications here. This will be a fun one to watch. These both, I mean, I can't even stress. I'm so excited for these next 2 weekends. It's not even funny.
Yep. No, me too. It's so exciting. And I think I just think all the different, opinions and everything like that, it makes it so much fun. And you can sit here and talk about logical horses all day long. And it's like, yeah, I get it, but it's so much fun to sit here and talk and try to, figure it out. And this prep, it just has a different feel to it because it is such a pecking order situation. Like it's, you're just going to learn so much.
Yeah. It's again, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but you're definitely going to have some answers. Some answers decided here in the next, 2 weeks, starting with this. I guess this one goes off. Right.
It'll go up first.
This one goes off first. Yeah.
About an hour before the Arkansas Derby. Yep.
So one of these horses, let's just say Nearly or Chief Walby goes in, those two are like your 1-2 going into the Arkansas Derby. And then we'll see what happens with Renegade and Silent Tactic. But you could definitely be talking about a like Chief Walby, Nearly, Renegade top 3 heading in, after the weekend, right? I mean, this is an example, but I feel like unless some weird shit happens in these 2 races, you're looking at, 3 or 4 horses, or 3 out of the top 5 coming from this weekend's racing. Let's put it that way. Yep. All right, guys, time for a little rapid fire. Let's get right to it. Presented by, again, the betting Bibles over at racingdudes.com. So if you haven't already, go over there and check those out. One for the Florida Derby card and one for the Arkansas Derby as well. 2 big races. All the picks are ready and available right now over at the website. So go and check that out. All right, we're going to go Oaks. We'll go the 2 Oaks races and we'll head over to Dubai for this weekend's action. We'll go to Friday. This is the Fantasy Stakes at Oaklawn Park. Kentucky Oaks on the line, 150, 25, 15, 10 for your top 5. Only a field of 6, going to be scratched down to a field of 5 because Baffert said, hey, Explorer is not going to run. She's going to train up to the Oaks, which is not good. But that'll do a field of 5, and now you're like going with the horses that she's beat, and who is the better of those?
Well, I was going to go against her in this race anyway. And so when you hear that scratch, you go, God damn it.
You don't get the price now.
Because now you don't get the price. Yeah, I love number 3 Counting Stars in this race. I love her. And again, I wanted Explorer to be in it so we could get the price. She's going to be a big favorite, I think. Now, maybe not. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I love number 3 Counting Stars in this spot. I think she's going to run big. Forget about what happened 2 races back. Just didn't fire. Her other races have been really good, including last time out when she was closing on Explorer. I think she would have got her this time. We'll never know. But I'm going to go number 3 Counting Stars on top.
I mean, listen, I'm on Counting Stars as well. I love Counting Stars here, but we both know the 5's going to beat us, right? We know that Brad Cox is going to have a freaky performance, and this horse will never get to her, the 3. Meaning, but to that, because that's just, if we pick the sticker shock, that horse will run like the horse ran on debut, right? Yeah. That's how it goes when I'm picking Brad Cox. But yeah, like listen, the Martha Washington, that was the horse just walked off. Whatever happened there happened. Yeah. But the horse really prior to that has never, the horse has just always showed up. That's Counting Stars. I'm with you. I thought with Explorer and with Sticker Shock in here, I thought there's plenty of pace in the race, whereas like this thing's going to set up so nicely for Counting Stars. I think Counting Stars is going to cruise here. I really do. I was excited to bet her as well. But we'll see what the price goes off. I guess watch that closely to see what price you actually get. But I think Counting Stars is going to be very good here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her run. Search Party, another Cassie that I kind of like here. You're right about Cox. This one will run off the screen and then be like, okay, Let's see this one. This one looks pretty good on paper. Oh, he's 8th. That's great. So that seems like Cox in a nutshell these days. But I'm kind of depressed because I even have picked Explorer last time out, but it's like I've never really fully bought into her, and I just kind of thought she was vulnerable here. But oh well.
You'll never know. You may never see her run again either. So
that's true as well.
There's that as well. All right, let's go to Gulfstream Park. So again, the undercard there for the Florida Derby, race 9, the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and it's grade 2, 250K, mile 16th. Again, Kentucky Oaks points on the line, 150, 25, 15, 10, and a field of 7 lines up here on the board. Prom Queen at 9-5. Talk about this time it's Brad Cox versus Pletcher, and 7-5 on She Be Smooth. I don't know about you. I am very excited to see She Be Smooth here.
I am too. I thought the last race was excellent. I really thought she ran extremely well. So yeah, I'm going to go number 6, She Be Smooth on top, and ready for another Cox to just probably go out and take him gate to wire. Number 5, Prom Queen. I do like Prom Queen a little bit as well, but I like She Be Smooth on top. I think this is a very good horse. I thought the last race was excellent. And I think she'll stretch out okay. And I think she'll be a horse that's going to be tough to hold off again. So give me number 6, She Be Smooth. Yeah,
I think like that's been cool about her is like 2 efforts, 2 wins, both fairly commanding. First on the debut was, they both were at a mile, but the first debut race was she was way closer to the lead, beat Prom Queen as well. And then the second time she was, a lot kind of like more of in the Devonadell, more of an educational trip, way out of it, got it, had a swing and the whole thing, and then wins by 6. Yeah. So like she's just very versatile. Pratt's aboard again. I just think she, I think maybe we'll get a little like all that 7-5 because of Prom Queen's next effort, which she won by 8. It was very impressive in that maiden special weight, but to me, that only looks better for She Be Smooth, because She Be Smooth beat her the debut, and then she wins by 6 in the grade 2. Yeah. So give me She Be Smooth. I think that horse is going to be fun to watch. I didn't ask you about the last one, but I know the Oaks is just so. I mean, Zanny, people will chastise you if you don't mention Zanny in the Oaks conversation, but asked her like. Anything out of these races that you like heading into the Oaks? Like, do you think there's some potential, or are you still just completely up in the air with this?
Has there ever been an Oaks with less like buzz? I don't know. It's weird this year. It's really weird.
There's no horses. Like there's no. I mean, and Zanny's the only one that's kind of got that buzz, and she never runs.
She never runs, and she didn't look just awesome when she ran at Tampa. I know she beat a horse that came back to win, so that's good on her for sure. I guess wait till we see her and then decide. I do like these horses here. We might get one, or She Be Smooth. Certainly, Counting Stars could be one for sure at Oaklawn. So it's starting to come together a little bit, but not a lot of buzz. I really don't have any early thoughts on the Oaks, to be quite honest. And usually by this time you do, but I don't really have much of a gauge on things right now. Like I said, you don't see them very often, and when you do see them, they're kind of a little underwhelming so far. Like I said, they're starting to come up a little bit, but still, I don't know.
It's too early, still, which sounds insane to say. It's with the Oaks, man. It's like the now horse, and I know that Brad Cox is going to screw us in that race. I just know it, right? Because the horse will, say for instance, Sticker Shock runs like a distant second here to our horse, but gets in, right? Because gets second here, and then horse goes and wins gate to wire at the Oaks, right? Like that's the kind of thing I'm expecting to happen, because it just seems that, or maybe one of these Pletchers just really pushes like, hey, this is easily the best filly, and that's it.
Somebody's been burned by Brad Cox lately, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any idea. I can't never get him right anymore. I'm on such a bad stretch with him that I just he's like, how we have like the Baffert, like you just got to be like, I just got to play him, right? I don't know what he's going to do, but I just got to use him because, it's kind of like when Fiercest would run. It's like, I don't know. Don't even look. I just got to play him. It's kind of how I feel like I am with Cox now. Just like, I have no reason to play this horse, but I have to just include him.
I think demand a price is going to be my thing on Cox. Like, don't play as heavy favorites. Demand a price. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because at least you won't get burned. I mean, if you lose on a price horse, whatever. But betting with 6-5 and he runs up the track, that's painful.
Yep.
All right, let's head over to Dubai. So I know it's a shocker to you guys in racing, but we don't have a lot of information to go off. No past performances available here, and you're looking at basically what we have to work with. So obviously we know these horses, but a lot of you may not. But there is the racing happening on Saturday morning, 9:30, the UAE Derby, which I had to do a double take. I don't know that I remember seeing this, and maybe it's a typo, but the points for this race, it's 160, 30, 15, 10. Did you see that?
I think that's what it's always been.
Has it?
I think.
Or
am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't know. It's bizarre to me. 60 points to the second. So 100 points still stays the same. 60, 30, 15, 10. And you can see the field here. Powerman, I think there's a lot of interesting horses in here. Well, a few. Powermancer, obviously, and Saloom. And then, of course, your horse there, 6-speed. I think all three of those horses are very interesting. If you want to throw in Devon Island or Brotherly Love, those are mildly interesting to me. But I am very excited to see Powermancer and Saloom. I think both those horses have legitimate shots to get to the Kentucky Derby, maybe 6-speed as well if you want to throw that one in there. So I don't think this is like a wash of a race. I don't know how good they are. Saloom, to me, feels like he could be anything. He's just a nutcase. But if he can figure it out, that horse seems to have loads of talent. And Powermancer, they really like. So I do think this race will be interesting. I don't know what it means moving forward. What do you think of this one?
Well, I think, first of all, the thing that just jumps out at you is you go to any website and you can't find past performances on it in the United States. And it's just like, that kind of tempers your fun on it. But yeah, you research it a little bit, and look, I think it's between, unfortunately, the two favorites. I think it's Pyromancer or 6-speed. I think they're the two best horses. 6-speed is on my fantasy team, so I'll pick him. I'll pick him to win the race. I thought he was good in a couple of his local races over there. And to be honest, I'm not betting $1 on this race. And, if you want to, that's fine. But I do think 6-speed has shown some really, really good talent. And I think, he's got American breeding and kind of shows like he really runs well on the dirt. So I took 6-speed on top, and would not be shocked though. Pyromancer looks pretty darn good as well. Saw some replays there. He looks solid. The Saloom horse, it's a lot to ask off of what happened to him last time, right? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but he's shown some talent as well. But I'm going to go 6-speed on top.
Yeah, the funny part about Saloom is, like, I was watching an interview with his trainer, and which his trainer has 6 horses in every race, and but he's like, we were supposed to have 3 races in him by now.
Oh wow,
and they've got 1.
Okay,
this is a nutcase. He's gotten in trouble in the gates. He's had issues, just all mental. When he runs, he was awesome. Like he was. I mean, he looked awesome in that race over in Dubai, but we just haven't seen him enough. Like, I like him. I think he's got immense talent. I really do. I just don't know that you can trust what he's gonna do. Think about a horse like that, then bringing him over for the Kentucky Derby. Right? That seems like a lot to ask. Yeah. I could see Saloom running well. I could see him winning. I could see him not making it in through the gate. I could see him, there's countless things. I'm going to pick him on the price because why not? Because of the price he will get, hopefully. But I do think it's really between Pyromancer. I think that horse kind of goes through him. But honestly, I watched the replays of him. I think Saloom's got more talent. I just don't know that he's able to quite mentally get it there yet.
Yeah, can he behave? That's going to be the big question mark. I agree, though. Like the one race I saw Saloom run, the one the trainer was referring to, he certainly did look pretty good. So I think this is a really fun race. I think there are good horses in this race. I don't know what that means for the Derby, but I do think these horses are good. So and again, I think you're seeing more like United States bred horses running over there, and I think it's making this race deeper than in years past.
Yeah, and what's cool about this race is, and really like from the start, like, horses like 6 Speed, and especially like I remember reading about Saloon like late December, early January, like they're wanting to go to the Derby, right? Like you're seeing that more and more now, where these horses are international horses are pointing to the Derby, right?
Yeah.
Now getting there, that's the other battle, right? But you're seeing, and then like you said, more United States bred horses, and then you're starting to see that a little bit more to where it's becoming a little bit more normal. Like it's not that crazy to think, hey, Powermancer's next start will be in the Derby, right? And so, yeah, you take them a little more seriously. And honestly, dude, like we don't know, right, these next 2 weeks, but if this thing stays as open as it is, like if Chief Wallaby doesn't run great or what, we still are just kind of trying to figure out who is the best horse. Like these horses could definitely make a case for that going over here. Like if there was ever a year it was going to happen, it would be this year. Again, if those things happen, like if someone nearly doesn't do what he's supposed to do, or Chief Wallaby, or all these, that's pretty unlikely. Surely at least one of these is going to stick his head out and kind of make themselves known as the favorite. But if there was ever a year, it kind of feels like this is a good year that they could make a case for coming over here and having a big chance.
I think as you sit here right now, it's definitely, you could definitely say that. And again, we've got 5 big United States prep races to go, and that could be where you start to kind of change the tune a little bit, depending on what happens there. But yeah, I do agree with you. It is a year where it's like, well, hey, it looks wide open. Let's take a shot. The flip side of it is, boy, if Forever Young couldn't win it, I don't know. Like he's pretty damn good, and he still couldn't win. He had a million things go wrong, or he would have. But anyway, it goes back to that same old thing we talk about every single time.
I know you're going to
come over here, and they can't get out of the gate, and they're 18th.
Why? And we saw it for like that 1 year, it feels like,
and
then never happened again. Like where Japan or someone brought a horse or two over for Santa Anita. But like I still think the way you're going to get it done is stop running overseas. And if you're serious about bringing your horse over for the Kentucky Derby, run them in a prep before the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
Get them over here. Run them in the Bluegrass. Just say, hey, we think this horse can win the Derby. We're running in the Bluegrass, and then we're going to run the Derby, right? Or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, get them established over here, training, working in the gate, all those things. And it just doesn't, I don't know why. I mean, again, I understand it costs money, and there's things like you have to have a serious horse to even want to think about it. But it just feels like if there was a way to do it, that would be the way to do it.
If you're serious about winning the Derby, that's what you do. You have to do that. They just have trouble. And, you look at Mendelssohn, who ran a tremendous UAE Derby, and you look up in the Kentucky Derby, and it's like, where is he? He's like, well, he's 20th. Well, he's a speed horse. Why? Well, he didn't get out of the gate. Thunder Snow. I mean, that's an extreme example. Forever Young. I mean, he didn't get out. If Forever Young gets out of the gate, what's he win that race by? 3 or 4?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if he would have got his normal spot, but instead he's dicking around back in the back because he broke, and he's like, oh shit, where am I? For half a second, and that's all it takes. So, I don't know.
He just needed to get it away. If he just got away from Sierra Leone, he would have won that race. He just too close to him in the back of the pack.
Yeah. But good point there too.
But
Sierra Leone wanted to kill him the whole race. So
he damn near did too.
He did.
And meanwhile, those two fuckers were fucking around with each other, and Mystic Dan was like, "All right, I'll take it. Whatever."
No, the most accurate vulgar statement ever was just made on this show. Literally, you don't need to go ever watch the replay of that race. What he said is exactly what happened.
Yep, me Mystic Dan's like, man, no one's coming. I guess. All right, whatever.
He's looking around like, are you guys? Where are you? It's like, oh, you're back there dicking around with each other. Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, so we'll see what happens here in the UAE Derby. All right, let's go to the main event on Saturday, and this is, of course, the $12 million Dubai World Cup, $12 million race, mile and a quarter. And again, you mentioned him a second ago, Forever Young, your 4-5 favorite. Feels like a 2-horse race, probably a 1-horse race, to be honest, but magnitude does come over, makes it a little more interesting at 7-1 and Maidan at 6-1. But I mean, just show up and Forever Young should win this.
He didn't last year. He didn't show up with his best race, and he got beat. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen again, but that's what happened last year. Yeah, I mean, look, Forever Young's the horse to play or to beat here, I should say. I kind of get it if you go, hey, I don't think he'll show up because he didn't last year. Maybe he doesn't want to run back this quick, blah, blah, blah. Take Magnitude if that's the case. I think Magnitude's going to show up and run a huge race. So you try to take him at bigger odds. Just know going into it, Forever Young's best race is probably going to beat him. And that's the way I would look at it. So excited to watch Forever Young. Excited to see if Magnitude can, give him a challenge. But I think it's Forever Young.
I mean, I assume it's going to be Magnitude up front and just trying to go basically as fast as he can and see if he can hold off Forever Young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way to do it. But Forever Young has turned himself into a world-class. I mean, he's always been a world-class horse, but man, he's just on another level now. He really is one of the best that we've seen. And he's kind of those last several races, he's proven that. And I think that, his days of losing to inferior horses is behind him. So I like Forever Young quite a bit here. I wish I could lock in. Maybe what is it overseas? Anybody know what it is overseas? I mean, maybe that's where you actually can lock in bets.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what he's at right now.
Yeah, I think it's just a situation. If you're playing against him, like, hey, he may be all those things you just said, but he lost. Like Hit Show beat him here last year. I can't say that with a straight face, but Hit Show did beat him here last year. So I'm gonna take a shot again with somebody, and if you want to do that, that's great. I don't think it's a bettable race because I'm not going to bet against the best horse in the world, Okay, so then I'm taking 1-5 probably, and I don't want to do that either. So just watch it, and it's kind of like an exhibition to me.
So that's why. So Florent Giroux chose Hit Show over Litmus Test. That makes so much sense now.
Well, that does explain something to what now do Hernandez. Now do Juan Hernandez.
Juan Hernandez has a wedding to attend on Saturday. So he decided to do that.
I don't know why that got me right there.
He decided to do that instead. He's like, no, that's good.
Wife's making him go to a wedding. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, I got my Derby horse. Never mind. All right. So there's a look at the UAE Derby. That's going off at 12:45. I assume Eastern time on Saturday morning. So huge weekend of racing. Whether it goes from get up in the morning for the UAE stuff, see if we got a legit Derby contender come over from overseas, and then of course see if Forever Young get the job done in the Dubai World Cup. I don't know what is his earnings right now. It's insane, but I mean, this would just add to it.
Yeah.
What is he at? He's
got to be the all-timer by far if he wins.
He's got to be over. I was gonna say he's got to be over like 15-20 million, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
29 million. 29 million in earnings on 14 starts, bro.
Incredible.
14 starts, 29 million, and obviously a win here would boost that up to over 35. So
it's incredible.
I mean, he's won the UAE Derby. He finished third of the Derby, Kentucky Derby. He won third in the Classic. Saudi Cup, he's won twice. He finished third. He finished third in the Dubai World Cup last year, and then of course won the Classic. So he's won some big ones for sure.
He has.
That's insane. Golly. All right, Forever Young this weekend, Dubai World Cup. 30 million. He's not even done. He's still got a year. I mean, they're probably going to run him 2 or 3 more times, but he's going to run in this race. He's going to run in the Classic, right? Those are two huge purses.
Yep.
Like he could get it up over 40.
And he's not going to run for pennies in all those races. He's running in the biggest races possible. So yeah, it's crazy what he's got a chance to do.
That's that may I don't know. That may never be touched.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy. Yeah. But like I said, like he's always been good, right? He's like, look at his record and look at his, but it just feels like over the last couple races, it's like
Yeah.
oh, he's as good as we kind of hoped he would be one day. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah.
he's turned himself into the star that kind of was believed he could be, so.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. Even after the Breeders' Cup where he ran third, we were like, well, he's really good, but he's not like a superstar. He's a superstar now of epic proportions. Yeah.
That Breeders' Cup, man, the way he won, where it was just like, oh shit, man, that was impressive,
Mm-hmm.
But all right, guys, that's gonna do it for us. Again, go to the website at racingdudes.com, check out all the free picks and premium selections on that product page. Remember, the betting Bible is available, both of them from for the Florida Derby card and the Arkansas Derby card. We talked about those races, obviously the undercards. I'll tell you what, the undercards maybe don't have the biggest stars running, but they are, I guarantee you, there'll be payouts throughout the day. Both cards. They are tough races to handicap, but there are prices to be had. I guarantee it. So check out how we're betting the undercard of the Florida Derby and the Arkansas Derby over at racingdudes.com on the betting Bible. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you listen to the Magic Mike show from earlier this afternoon with Halterman and Samich, where they went over the late pick 5 at Gulfstream Park. Very entertaining conversation, especially as it got to the Florida Derby. So if you want Samich's take on that, go listen to that after this. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram, Facebook. Find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting the podcast page on the website, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen to, as well as YouTube. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification button, because we have tons more videos coming out each and every day as it relates to the Kentucky Derby and horse racing. All right, Halterman, I was going to read off. Well, first of all, are you ready for some basketball tonight?
Yeah, I've been watching it in the background, actually. So I'm definitely ready. We got basketball, we got hockey going on as well. So yeah, it's a big sports day today, and opening day of baseball was today. So that's been fun too.
So I saw known possible starters for the Bluegrass next week: Brandt, class president, Creole Chrome, Further Ado, Great White, Paladin, Reagan's Honor, and Talkin that was tweeted out earlier. Pretty damn good race there. Let's see, Wood Memorial, Bravaro, Butane, Civil Liberty, Courting, Creole Chrome, Iron Honor, Napoleon Solo, Atano, Red Zone Runner, Right to Party, Taj Mahal, and Talk to Me Jimmy. I had it somewhere. Basically the Sanity Derby was, the regulars, Cherokee Nation, and who was the other one?
Potente.
Yeah, Potente. And then they're like some of the regular horses, but nothing that was surprising in that one. But so next weekend ought to be pretty damn good.
It should. It definitely should. Your fantasy partner's insane, by the way. But yeah, it should be very, very good. I'm sorry. You were reading that, and I couldn't look up at the screen. But
trust me, he's my fantasy partner. I understand.
It's insane. Listen, I think the Bluegrass is going to be fascinating. I really hope Class President's there, because I think he just adds so much intrigue to it, which is already really good. Further Ado, Paladin, all those horses. Santa Anita, I think, is fascinating, and don't mistake that for me thinking it's going to be great. I just think it's fascinating. Like, what's going to happen there? Like, Cherokee Nation do that again? And if so, what do we do with him? Does Potente improve again? If so, what do we do with them? I think that's the race where there's a horse is going to come out of it, and we're going to go, I have no idea what we're going to do with this horse. That's my gut feeling on that one.
Sorry.
I know you can't read the comments.
We're gonna have to start muting them.
Mute him.
I can't, because I can't do the show. It's like I can't listen to you, and you're not listening to me.
There's one comment in particular that just I
think the Santa Anita Derby, I agree with you, because I don't think that it's Bob Baffert, so I can't say I'd be shocked, but I don't think the Derby winner is going to come out of that. But I do think that Cherokee Nation and or Potente could be like a top 5 choice of the Derby, because it's Bob Baffert, and if they have a flashy performance at Santa Anita, how can you not leave them out of that conversation?
Can I throw something at you? What if this weekend it's like the Florida Derby was good, but you left it going, okay, it's just okay. It's good, but it's not great. Let's just say that. And you look at Arkansas and you go, that wasn't bad. And then you see the Wood and it's like, yeah, that wasn't good. And then you see the Bluegrass and it's like, it's kind of like the Florida Derby. It's just okay. And then Cherokee Nation wins by 3 and runs a 102 buyer. What do you do? What do you do? Like, do you believe it? What do you do? Or say Patente wins by 3 and runs that big, like, what do you do with them when it comes to Kentucky?
Well,
do you stick with the, hey, Baffert outside of California, I'm throwing him out? Like, I don't know.
I think in that scenario that you just laid out, unlike as unlikely, like let's just say like Further Ado or something wins the Bluegrass.
Yeah.
In that scenario, like there is a world where Baffert is the favorite of the Derby.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that, like again, a lot of things would have to happen, but yeah, I think that is probably why it is so interesting, that race, because I don't think either one of us think that. I don't think you and I think that either one of us think that Cherokee Nation is 100 plus buyer horse, like a legit,
Yeah.
No. But if he does it again, then you're like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Patente feels like more of a real horse, I guess you want to put it that way. But I don't know that is capable of increasing his buyer, 10 points here either. So
I agree with everything you just said. He does. Patente definitely feels like the more natural progressing type. I guess what I'm getting at more than anything, and I probably didn't say it well, but I thought of it now. I think out of all the races, that's the one race where it could cause a potential problem of like, what the hell do you do? And you're going to look, you got a chance to look stupid either way. You try to, because let's say Cherokee Nation runs huge and then you're like, yeah, he's not for real. And then Baffert wins the Derby.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you use him and he runs 15th and you're like, I knew that would happen. You know what I mean? Like, I hate horses like that. And I think that's the potential race that's going to give you that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with that one,
Yes.
You're well, remember, like, I know you remember, but like last year, Rodriguez goes and wins the Wood, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it was like, even that was enough to like, oh, this is like, he's like a legit horse, right? Mm-hmm. For Bob Baffert. Now, obviously he didn't end up running, but point is, going before that, it was like, yeah, Rodriguez, like that's like, he's like a top 4 or 5 choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the Wood. So if he continues to stop, we're gonna have to mute you, Kevin. I think we just got to end the show. So.
Sorry.
But yeah, we'll have more to talk about next week.
Yes.
Obviously that's gonna be the best part, because after next week we can just talk about the Derby and there's no more what ifs and who could do this and what if that horse is gonna do that and this and this and this. We'll know, right? And so then we can really go into it. And
I look forward to. I really think we'll go into the last week with kind of like, okay, who can get to whoever's level, whether it be Renegade or Chief Wallaby or Nearly. We're going to have a high standard set this weekend. And then it'll all kind of be like, okay, these last 3 races, they could get to that level, but who can?
Mm-hmm. And
then we build off of that. If we don't have that kind of look to it, that last week's going to be crazy. It's going to be like, we're scrambling for something. It's 2 a.m. at the bar, Jared. We got to grab somebody. Who is it? Go to the Wood. Maybe we'll find it. I don't know.
All I'm saying is, in the moment, that's the best feeling in the world. But the next day, it's not. So you got to be careful with that move, okay? You don't want to be sit there making yourself pick the Puma at 2 a.m.
If he he's not a 2 a.m. horse if he wins a Florida Derby. So.
No, he's a 7 p.m. horse if he does that.
He might be a mid-morning horse.
But he might be a 2 a.m. horse. I don't know. I do think. Last question.
Okay.
Because I heard Samich mention this earlier today, and I think one of the perceived notions of this year is, oh my gosh, it's all over the place. Who knows? Like this year, if there's ever a year like 30-1 shot's going to win the Derby, or higher, this is it, right? We're going to see it because none of these horses are very good. And in some ways that I understand that, but then it's like maybe I think Manlow told me this, he had mentioned this a couple weeks ago to me privately. He was like, I feel like, it's going to be some really bad horses that are going to be in those high prices because they're just that, that's very top heavy. Now, maybe they're very interchangeable on the top, but they're very top heavy, that 5 to 10 horses. So do you think it's still going to be relatively I don't want to say chalky because it's like not like saying the Derby's chalky, but you know what I mean? Like somewhat predictable in the Derby.
Well, take it like last year. Is it going to be like last year where, listen, Sovereignty was no surprise. Journalism ran really well. Everybody knew Baeza once you drew in was going to run well. Will it be quite kind of like that? My answer is yes. I think it will be.
Yeah.
I agree. Again, I think you change your mind if some of these horses disappoint in these last preps, right? Like if we get to the first Saturday in May and Emerging Market was the most impressive prep race, well, I'm taking a 20-1 shot and just praying. That's what I'm going to do. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see I think there was a point in the season where I thought when Ted Nafi got hurt and also the 2-year-olds from last year out of the juvenile were coming back and they're not run very well, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be wild. But the way this thing kind of developed, I do think we're going to see a logical horse win this race this year.
Yeah. Now coming up with that logical horse might be like picking the winner out of a 10-horse field, but still I'm not going to sit there and like include horses at huge prices just because it's been a weird year or whatever. I think some of those horses are going to I think some of the horses that will make the gate are just not that good, Right. So, yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Kevin, you guys, I'll give you, if you'd like, maybe get Jose's, what is it? Is it Jose?
Yeah.
Jose, if you guys want to exchange numbers before we get off here, or you can, that way you guys can continue your conversation. But
I don't recommend that for Jose. I'll tell you that. I've got Kevin's number, so
I'm not worried about Jose. I'm not worried about Kevin. I'm worried about Jose. At this point.
I wouldn't recommend it, buddy. Jose's too good of a guy.
I have Kevin's number, and that's one too many. Let me just tell you. So,
yeah,
he's relatively tame and text messaging. I'll tell you that. But he gets in the chat, man. he's a different animal. All right, guys, it's gonna wrap it up for us. Again, appreciate the conversation. I don't know if you guys can tell. Hopefully, you can. I mean, if you listened to Magic Mike show earlier, now you listen to this. Like I'm so these next 2 weeks and then the lead up. It's been a really fun Derby season, Derby Trail season, and it's just coming to a head this weekend. All these horses that are so lightly raced that are gonna show up here. Paladin feels like he hasn't ran in 3 years. Like we're gonna see some of these horses really showcase what they are and to see if they are legit as they head into the Kentucky Derby. So can't wait. Again, racingdudes.com for all your picks. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Until next time, good luck this weekend.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.